You just said that every other attorney general acts a certain way, people around the president. That is Eric Holder saying, I am the wingman of Barack Obama.
And can you give us an example of a prosecution
that he... totally out of context.
No, I'm not. I'm literally, he's literally saying my allegiance is, not to the Constitution, as you just stated. He's saying my allegiance is to the President of the United States of America, my wingman. Again, I'm just going back. He didn't say my allegiance is the wingman to the Constitution.
Name a case where Obama weighed in and put his thumb on the
go back to what I just said.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that there's not attorney generals
that
have not said their allegiance is to the President.
You talk louder because you can't name it.
What did he just say? He said it was unprecedented.
No, it is.
He just said the wingman, not the Constitution, to Barack Obama.
The meddling is unprecedented, and you know that, and you talk around.
In today's video, Abby Phillip completely takes down Ben Ferguson during a fiery debate on Newsnight with Abby Phillip. Presidents have always tested limits. Nixon tried it, LBJ pressured agencies, and even Reagan blurred a few lines. But Donald Trump took things to an entirely new level. He didn't even try to hide it, openly demanding that the Department of Justice prosecute James Comey and other political opponents, something no president has ever done so blatantly before. So let's jump in and see how Abby Phillip confidently shuts down Ben Ferguson on Newsnight with Abby Phillip.
James Comey has been indicted after the president ordered his DOJ to charge him. So where does this stand in American presidential history? CNN historian Tim Naftali joins us to help contextualize all of this. Tim, when it comes to presidents obviously wanting to prosecute their political enemies, I can't imagine this is new, but actually doing it is another story. Tell us what the history says.
Well, this is the most blatant presidential intervention in a prosecution. Richard Nixon tried to bribe the judge in Daniel Ellsberg's case, offered him actually to be the director of the FBI. The judge could not be bribed. Richard Nixon also intervened in the William Calley case and reduced the sentence. That was a military court sentence after the My Lai massacre. So Nixon did intervene, but this is taking presidential intervention to a new level in American history. Not only did the president complain that his original assistant U.S. attorney was not willing to pull the trigger on an indictment, but his attorney general made clear in her very first letter to every single lawyer that you must zealously defend the interests of the United States, and they are defined by Donald J. Trump. Whereas every previous attorney general made clear that their oath was to the Constitution of the United States. We live in a country where your oath is not to the president. But Pam Bondi made clear the president will decide what is in our interests, which means he will decide when to prosecute.
Eric Holder said, and I quote, "I'm still the president's wingman." Eric Holder brushed off questions Thursday about when he might leave the administration. Instead, the top lawman professed his allegiance to President Barack Obama. Let's not say it's unprecedented. You just said that every other attorney general acts a certain way, people around the president. That is Eric Holder saying, I am the wingman of Barack Obama.
And can you give us an example of a prosecution
that he... totally out of context.
No, I'm not. I'm literally, he's literally saying my allegiance is, not to the Constitution, as you just stated. He's saying my allegiance is to the President of the United States of America, my wingman. Again, I'm just going back. He didn't say my allegiance is the wingman to the Constitution.
Name a case where Obama weighed in and put his thumb on the
go back to what I just said.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that there's not attorney generals that have not said their allegiance is to the president.
You talk louder because you can't name it.
What did he just say? He said it was unprecedented.
No, it is.
He just said the wingman, not the Constitution, to Barack Obama.
The meddling is unprecedented, and you know that, and you talk around it.
Before you jump in?
Sure.
For just a moment.
Watching this exchange between Tim Naftali and Ben Ferguson, I couldn't help but think how unbelievable it is that people are even trying to compare Trump's actions to anything in modern U.S. history. Ben Ferguson keeps bringing up Eric Holder's wingman comment, but there's a major difference. Obama's DOJ never tried to criminally charge Mitt Romney, John McCain, or anyone else just for opposing him. Words like wingman don't mean much when there's no real abuse of prosecutorial power behind them. And Tim is absolutely right historically. There's nothing like this. Nixon tried to interfere, but his own DOJ pushed back. Even Reagan, who faced backlash for Iran-Contra, never ordered prosecutors to go after his political rivals. The Justice Department's independence has always been treated as a red line, even when tested. But Trump isn't just testing it, he's crossing it loud and clear. And let's be honest about Pam Bondi's memo. It's not some ordinary policy note. It's basically rewriting the DOJ's mission to serve the president personally instead of the Constitution. That's straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Look at Hungary under Orban or Turkey under Erdogan. Once prosecutors serve the leader instead of the law, democracy flips into rule by decree. That's what makes Tim's point so powerful. This isn't about Trump's personality. It's about a dangerous precedent. If this continues, future presidents from either party could start jailing their opponents as standard politics. That's not wingman territory. That's Banana Republic territory.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to repeat Charles's question because I think it's a valid question. Is there an example that comes to your mind of President Obama leaning on his wingman to change the outcome of a case?
I don't know if there was a case. My point is he wasn't saying his allegiance was to
You know there wasn't a case. It's not that you don't know. You know there wasn't.
I don't
know
know
there
if
wasn't.
there was or wasn't a case.
You
but I
thought it
do know
was
his
very
allegiance
convenient
was not
to try to drag Barack Obama and Eric Holder into this mess that is really Donald Trump's and Pam Bondi.
I think the broader point, Lindsay, is about what this means for the future of the DOJ. And in a way, you were talking about Trump supporters that you know. He did say he was going to do this, that he was going to use the DOJ to prosecute his political enemies. Now that it's happening, is this going to raise any red flags?
He also said he was going to lock Hillary Clinton up over and over and over. He said, lock her up, lock her up. They don't believe that. They believe that he's going to bring back the economy, that he's going to defend their jobs, that he's going to actually work for them. And right now, we are not seeing that. Even in Iowa, I was just talking with folks. No, they're not seeing markets. India, they were selling to India for a long time. They don't have the markets. Farmers are struggling. We've got manufacturing closing. Those are the problems that Americans care about. And so you can say all you want about this being. You can say all you want about it being a political winner. But I just think when you're going after someone for something about perceived retribution, and you have to explain that to the American people, and they are losing their jobs, you are losing.
That's the second night in a row where that talking point's been used.
No.
It's the second night. It must have been sent out by the Democratic Party. The president is doing pretty good on the economy, Tim, and the American people, I think, agree with
Tim,
that.
I'm curious what you think. And by the way, I should say, I apologize, Joanna. I was thinking Lindsay Halligan is in my head.
What really stood out to me watching this debate was how Ben Ferguson kept trying to drag Obama and Eric Holder into the conversation without offering a single example of them ordering actual prosecutions. That detail matters, because unlike Trump, Obama never told the DOJ to target John McCain, Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell, or any of his critics. In fact, Obama's DOJ faced criticism from Democrats for not prosecuting Bush-era officials over torture, a real example of respecting the DOJ's independence, even when his own party wanted action. And when it comes to the economy, the claim that Trump's base was thriving just doesn't hold up. Data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture shows that farm bankruptcies hit an 8-year high during Trump's trade war with China, especially across the Midwest. Manufacturing jobs that were supposed to surge actually peaked in 2019 and started falling even before the pandemic. The markets lost to India, and China still haven't returned. And for the first time in decades, small family farms became heavily reliant on federal bailouts just to survive. So when Abby, Phillip, and Joanna challenge Ben Ferguson's claims, they aren't just debating politics, they're pointing to hard facts. This isn't about Democratic talking points. It's about Trump openly saying he'd use the DOJ for revenge and now actually doing it, while the working class communities that supported him are still waiting for the economic miracle he promised. That's what makes this moment so significant. It's not only about ethics or democracy, it's also about basic competence. If you're politicizing the justice system while your own supporters are losing jobs and markets, that's not populism. It's self-sabotage.
But the through line between these two conversations is that oftentimes when Donald Trump is back against the wall, he does revert back to some of his promises of this nature. He goes to targeting his political enemies when, his approval ratings on immigration and on the economy and on all these other issues that he should be strong on are headed south. Do you see this as sort of a defense mechanism, and will it work, or is there a risk that it could offend just regular Americans going about their day-to-day lives?
I have two answers. The first answer is this is not Trump 1. In Trump 1, rhetoric did not always lead to action. President Trump, over the course of his 4-year interregnum, learned some things about how to run the federal government. And Trump, too, is fundamentally different. His words matter. He says he's going to go after you, he's going to go after you. So, number one, these are action statements. In Trump 1, sometimes it was just frustration. Frustration because there were all these guardrails. Now, these are action statements. Number two, he only trusts his base. One reason why we're in such trouble right now is that we don't have a president who wants to persuade anybody. He's given up persuasion.
So he doesn't need to because he's
well, he doesn't need to for his base.
Well,
he does because but here's the point. He is saying this to make his base happy because his base is worried about the price of eggs, although they've come down lately.
Oh, no,
they're back to where they were in October.
We were.
They're back to where but here's the point. They have reason to be unhappy that promises have not been kept. So this rhetoric is red meat to them. But what's different from Trump 1 is this isn't just red meat. These are orders. These are action statements.
That he ran on.
What Tim Naftali is explaining really hits home because the pattern becomes obvious when you take a step back. Every time Trump's approval ratings start to drop, whether it's due to immigration chaos, inflation worries, or foreign policy missteps, he pivots straight back to revenge politics. And the numbers prove it. AP research found that during his presidency, Trump's approval among independents consistently dropped whenever he doubled down on personal attacks or threats against his opponents. It's like clockwork. Instead of expanding his base, he keeps shrinking it. Tim's point about Trump 2.0 being different is crucial. You only need to look at the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, a blueprint that openly vows to purge career civil servants and replace them with Trump loyalists. That's not just tough talk, it's a clear plan. Combine that with how Trump already pressured his attorney general during his first term, and it's easy to see how far he's willing to go without the same checks and balances in place. What's even more striking is that this approach isn't popular outside his hardcore supporters. A recent NPR Marist poll found that nearly 70% of Americans, including a majority of independents, oppose using the DOJ to target political opponents. So while Trump may think this strategy energizes his base, to most Americans it doesn't look like strength. It looks like a president driven by personal vendetta instead of responsible leadership.